सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So, having completed the Karikas, number 18, which summarizes the mantras, or up to mantras number 7, now we begin to go back to the Mandukya Upanishad itself with the mantra number 8. And so let us chant that. If you have this book by Swami Paramarthananda, this is on page number 37, or you can just, we won't go into the details of it, so you don't need to look it up, but anyway. So it goes like this. Let's chant that together. Soyam Atma Adhyaksham Omkaro Adhimatram Pada Matra Matrascha Pada Akara Ukaro Makara Iti. One more time. Soyam Atma Adhyaksham Omkaraha Adhimatram Pada Matra Matrascha Pada Akara Ukaro Makara Iti. This is the mantra. And the English translation of that, just this very simple sentence translation. We'll go into the meaning in a minute. The same Atma is Omkara from the standpoint of the total syllable. From the standpoint of the individual letters, the quarters are the letters and the letters are the quarters. The letters are A, U, and M. Nice, good translation, excellent translation. So the same Atma is Omkara from the standpoint of the total syllable. Same, the word same is interesting, same Atma. From the standpoint of the total syllable. Syllable means a complete word, Om. From the standpoint of the individual letters, the quarters are the letters and the letters are the quarters. The letters are A, U, and M. Okay. All right, let's begin the commentary on it. This commentary on this is it was somewhat complex, and I had a chance to really go over the meanings. I don't teach anything until I am very clear about what, and if there's any doubts, that I have to really go through the background work, which I did yesterday. So I was reading Swami Akhandananda's book, and he made certain points about this. And then I also went to the Shankara Bhashya. And not only that, I had the book, the text by Swami Dayanandji, which he must have taught not in our course, because in our course he did not take complete Shankara Bhashya on the Karika, but in Anaikatti he must have done it. So there's a big 4-volume set by Swami Dayanandji on the entire Mandukya and Karika. And I've never really had a chance to look at it in detail until yesterday. So I looked at that as well. And what I found was that it had to really make sense to me. And in looking at all of these things, I had to really dig a little bit about what that sense is. And this is what I'm going to present to you. And this sense is very close to Swami Akhandananda's exposition. And I had to bring in the concepts that he has enumerated elsewhere in his teaching to complete this. I'll go over that, what I mean by it. Because this is an interesting, it raised some questions in my mind as well, and so I had to answer it. So I did quite a bit of work yesterday to reconcile. And I think that now is why I hold Swami Akhandananda in such high regard, because he makes me understand. Even though I had not quite grasped it before, I'm able to do that to a much better degree. I'll communicate that to you now. Okay, let's start with the explanation of the 8th mantra of the Mandukya. So, to give you a background, as you know, Vedanta Shastra is something which is unique. I've said that before, and I hope you can think about it, grasp it, own it. There is nothing in this whole world, vast world, that clearly enunciates you don't need to do anything to find completeness, happiness, call it moksha, whatever it is. This is what we're all trying to do. How is it, what do I need to do in order to be happy? So Vedanta says, no, wait. You don't need to do anything. There's nothing to be done. But there is something to be known about yourself that you have a mistake on. And if you correct that mistake, and it has to be done while you are not only alive as a human being, but you have reached a certain sense of eligibility to understand this truth. If you are at that point, you will discover you have always been free, but did not accept yourself or to know yourself as a free person. This is all that is going to happen. You're already free. Vimuktascha vimuchyate, very famous saying. That what is vimuchyate means one which is made to be free is already free. Muktasya mudachyate. This is the clarion call of Vedanta. And what this means is Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta means that once you have this vision about yourself, about And the word vision is sort of it's not a very good word in my opinion. Vision sort of means, something very strange, some kind of a, imagined thing. It's not like it is you. But you just have an incomplete picture of yourself. So once you have that complete picture of yourself, you will see that there is nothing in the whole world which is really not you. It is you throughout. What you take not to be you, which is anatma, is also you. This is the mistake. So a vision of the self, again the word vision, I'll just use it, but this true picture of yourself as something which is not cut up into me and you and so on and so forth, which is Dvaita, is the Advaita. And that picture, that understanding that comes, completes the value of your life, the very reason for living. You become nothing other than Paramatma itself. So this is what the Mandukya and all the other Upanishads are providing, that kind of a picture to you. One other thing before I go further, another way of looking at it is that we are all, you and I and everyone else. This is the universality of the whole thing. It is not particularly one religion or anything. It's the universal. The universal truth is we are looking for Avinashi Sukham. Avinashi Sukham. Sukham means Ananda, means a sense of not wanting anything. I'm okay. Alam Buddhi. This is Sukham. You can call it happiness. When you say, I'm happy, we have to be careful about the word happy, unhappy, excited, relieved, all those kinds of things. We'll talk about that in some other time, but really speaking, a sense of peacefulness, sense of completeness, not wanting anything. I'm done. Hey, you want this? No. This is the freedom we want. Unconnected, unconditional to anything. Not right now our sukham. This is called sukham. But right now our sukham is conditional. I want to make sure that I'm not hungry, that my stomach is not upset, I don't have a headache, I don't have anyone bugging me, I have enough company, I don't feel isolated. All these are conditions. These are conditional sukhams. But none of them really deliver the goods to me because I want unconditional sukham. That unconditional sukham is the real me that I have to explore. Vedanta says, hey, you're making a mistake. You think that by having company or more money or fame or food, you will have unconditional sukham. No, it's not going to happen. Because you are the complete sukham. This is the picture that I have to see. All right, so the Mandukya, starting with the very first verse of the Mandukya, which is talking about Om. So this is why the translation of that verse, which says, the same Atma Omkara, same meaning, the very first one, the whole Mandukya began with Omkara, Om. And then it goes into, 7 verses explaining what is Om and so on. And now it pauses. Pauses means this is where Gaudapadacharya ji also made the Karika. So this section of the teaching, which we have now taken, this is class number 137. Really, I can't believe it that we've been studying this for 2.5 years. Anyway, this section is now over. So what is that section? Why is it over? And why are we doing anything more? This is the reason for today's class. So, and this is the reason why I had to be clear in ascertaining the tatparya, the essence of the various teachers. I wanted to make sure that what I learned from Swami Dayanand, from Swami Akhandananda, what the Shankara Bhashya says, they all reconcile in an understanding. And I think I do now have that understanding as to why the mantra number 8 is now beginning. Okay, so let me explain that to you. So, basically what it says is, what all agree, all the Mahacharyas agree, that if the first 7 mantras that give you the picture of Advaita Vedanta is not clear to you, I don't quite understand it, I don't get it, then what? Then this. We begin now a re-examination of the picture in another way. This is the very interesting thing. Okay, this is, I thought, was when Swami Akhandananda ji explained, and I had to bring in from some other places from him, it became very clear to me. So this is cryptically talked about in the Shankara Bhashya and explained in a very pedantic view by Swami Dayanand ji. If you go through that, I studied out all of it. But it did not really give an understanding until I really go to Swami Akhandananda's. What he said is, there is a thing called Abhidheya and Abhidhana. Abhidheya is an actual thing that you are trying to see. And Abhidhana is the name of the thing that you are trying to see. So Abhidhana means the name, and Abhidheya means the object that the name is pointing to. So these are the two things. Please see that. And we use that all the time. In fact, in our life, you cannot understand until you know a word, because everything in the word has a name. That's another thing. You cannot have something without a name. Everything must have a name for understanding. You can experience things that you don't know anything about. There's no relevance to you. There's no consequence to you. That can be a separate thing. But if you wanted to lead your life in terms of understandable transactions, then you must know the names. And we have given this example. This is the same thing as another way of looking at that is what is called paroksha versus aparoksha. Paroksha means something which is different from me, and aparoksha means me. So we have taken this example, Swami Khandananda gave this beautiful example, that when the mother teaches the nose, the word nose to a young kid, 1.5-year-old kid, by the time he's 2, he's already understood it. So very, very toddler who can hardly sit. And I think I've gone through this very recently with my grandkids. So as you know, what happens is, she points out a picture of the nose on a piece of paper. I'll be very brief about it because we have talked about it. But that's not done yet because he first has to knows the word which is called abhidhana. Then she has to point out an object of the name nose. And she does it by pointing out there's a picture of a lot of parts of the body, and she says, baby, nose. And then finally the connection between abhidhana and abhideya is made by the student, by the toddler. Then there is another part which is, this is not the nose, this is the nose. Why? Because sometimes it happens that, this happens all the time when the kid has a cold and there is fluid coming out to the nose, the mother can say, please wipe your nose. And if the kid has understood properly, which all of them do, then they will wipe their nose with a Kleenex. But now they have understood what nose is. But they had to be taught through an abhidhana and abhideya. Name and the object with it. This is the reason for the 8th mantra. Okay, so I had to parse all these things from the various sources. And now that I have understood it, now I can communicate to you. And what it is, this is, Adi Shankara also says, it was a little confusing to me in the beginning. What they say is that mantra number 1 through 7, 7 being the culmination, and all the karikas that explain it, na antah pragyam, na bahish pragyam, na ubhayatah pragyam, na bhagyana ghanam, na pragyam, all of that is meant for those that already can see the substance, the object, which is abhideya. They already can see it. It's like having, a conversation with a 7-year-old to say, please, hey, wipe your nose. And the 7-year-old has already gone through all of the discipline of naming and objects and all of that. He already knows it. So it is a direct one. So there it says that, listen, you see your own Atma? You say, yes. So it consists of the following parts. It has, as we will see in a minute. So it has a, look at the various parts of the Atma. So you have a waking part, you have a dream part, and you have a sleep part, deep sleep part, and they are all in you. So all of that, and then you say, yeah, this is true. I had not thought about it. Yeah, And then in the end, it says, Ayam Atma Brahma. Even in the beginning also. And what that means is, you are not just an isolated jiva, you are the whole thing. It is Advaita Veda, it is Advaita. A picture of Advaita, not Dvaita. So this is what is called, for people who have already done all of the work before, they have become now 7-year-old, they're no longer a year and a half. And if you explain them, they'll say, oh my God, I never saw that. This is beautiful. Yes, yes. Then you have some people who say, what? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, if I don't get it, then what do I do? You now have to go back the discipline of connecting the name with the object. This is exactly right. Elsewhere also this was pointed out that if I talk to somebody in Hindi and say, जरा मुझे पानी का गिलास देना, मुझे प्यास लगी है, जरा पानी का गिलास देना. So if you don't know Hindi, you will say, what are you talking about? The gilas is right here. Maybe a little bit out of my reach. And he said, can you please hand over the gilas to me? So if you don't know Hindi, you'll say, gilas means what? Paper? What is it? I said, no. So first the person has to know the words connected to the gilas, to the cup. Then you can say, now you can follow. So now we can summarize. The 8th mantra is going back to the teaching of Abhidhana, not just Abhidheya, because the connection between Abhidhana and Abhidheya is not clear. So you know what it means? My Abhidheya, which is Paramatma, Brahman, Parameshwara, God, whatever you may call it, is not yet connected to myself. It is some kind of a vague, maybe distant. They say it is very close, and I am willing to sort of accept, but I don't get it. In the explanation by Swami Akhandananda, which is all in Hindi, Sanskritized Hindi, he says, and those of you that know Hindi, he says, in Hindi it says, या तो जानो और अगर नहीं जानो तो मानो. या तो जानो और मानो. जानो और मानो. Jano means, it streams from ya, to know. Either you know or you accept provisionally. This is called Shraddha, not faith. Shraddha is not faith, as you know very well. I'm teaching some very experienced people. Faith means non-verifiable belief. Shraddha means verifiable belief. Verifiable belief means that don't disbelieve it, but carry on until you see it. A classical example of that is these are not all strange concepts. We have to really see that in our life. That if you wanted to understand particle physics, quantum physics, that you have, this is what the science is also discovering. This is what is called anirvachaniya. So Maya is anirvachaniya, means you cannot, we used to feel that everything is in particles. That is called vachaniya, definite. Then people said, no, it does not explain all of it, how light travels and how sound travels and so on. It has a sort of a state which is wavy. It's not a particle, it has a wave. Oh, really? So when does it become a particle and when does it become a wave? It is not known. Sometimes behaves as a particle, sometimes behaves as a wave. Anirvachaniya means you cannot define it. In Vedanta, this is very well explained. It is vachaniya. The anirvachaniya is vachaniya. It means that, listen, this is the principle of satyam and mithya. Sometimes it appears as a wave of an ocean, a wave of a lake, let's say. You can say, what is the reality about a wave? Well, it's you can't tell it. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. But the water is satyam. So it is called anirvachaniyam. So going back to mano, jano or mano. Mano means that if you do not get the fact that you are Advaita, then accept how you do not understand and how you will understand. Like a particle physics. Don't neglect it. Don't dismiss, not neglect it. Don't dismiss it. Study. It's a fact, but something that you don't understand. All right. How do I study? What do I need to do? So there, the acharyas all say that this fact about study is important. Where did I have it? Oh, yeah, sorry. I was looking at the wrong page. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, this fact is brought out very well. What is the fact? If you go to chapter 4, verse number 40 of the Bhagavad Gita, it says, just a short snippet out of it, Agyascha adradhanascha samshaya atma vinashyati. Agyascha ashraddhanascha samshaya atma vinashyati. What it says is, you have two obstacles for understanding. One is agyaha. You just don't know. We make a mistake about something and then we are corrected. So that mistake is called agyaha. not knowing. This is obstacle number one. The second obstacle is ashraddha. Ashraddha means somebody says, let me tell you the facts. Who are you to tell me the facts? I'm a very smart person. I can figure it out. Don't tell me anything. Okay, fine. All right. So then what you have is you are endowed with samshaya. Samshaya means doubt. This is an important thing because, again, the same thing is jano or mano. If you don't know, agyaha means jano and shraddha means mano. If you don't have a means of knowing something, and you also are not willing to follow what the means for knowing it is, this is what is called samshaya atma. You take yourself to be a doubtful person. And I'll tell you, this is not theoretical. This is exactly what happens. I see this every day. Very fascinating, honestly. I move around friends that are very well accomplished. They have accomplished 50 times more than what I have. And they have means to show it. They're rich, they are successful, they are, reasonably okay and so on. But if you ever need to discuss, you see, this is a fascinating thing. First of all, I remember taking this is about, 10 years ago, and I don't do that anymore, but 10 years ago we took a trip somewhere in Europe with some friends on a boat. There's like 5 or 6 of us, maybe 8 of us that were there. And you know what was fascinating to me? When you are together for 1 week, you get to know each other a little bit. What do you do? How many children do you have? What kind of work? What interests? All those kinds of things. And this happens 3 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You're doing all the trips together and so on. In all the end of the week, not one person asked me, what are you studying? Why? What does that do for you? Not one person. I thought this is a very interesting situation. Why? Because they don't need to. I don't care what this guy does. And this Vedanta, Shadanta, I have no idea what this is. I'm okay. And then of course they will all study and they'll say, okay, have you read this book by such and such wise person born in the West and he discovered something? I don't know what he's talking about, but it's interesting. You should read it sometimes. So I'll say, yeah. What is the name of it? I'll never read anything. I don't need to because I've got the original stuff. So, no Shraddha. Okay, fine. And then I see life's ending, life's creep, people have Alzheimer's, their life is going slowly. Well, there is no. So you have no knowledge, agyasya, and you have no Shraddha. At least you should look into it. Oh, who are you to tell me? I can figure it out on my own. Okay, fine, do it yourself. samshayatma vinashyati. Anyway, this is I just wanted to give you a kind of like a background on it. We haven't even gone to the main subject yet. Okay, so now we connect. So now listen to it carefully. Up to now, up to 7th, it was shown as abhidheya. Yeah, if you want to look it up, this is the Shankara Bhashya. For those of you that want to go a little deeper into it, you don't have to go through the whole thing, but the Shankara Bhashya in introducing this says, Abhidheya Pradhana Omkarascha Chatushpad Atma iti Vyakhyata Yaha. This is the Sanskritam. So this put a little doubt in me, so I had to really understand the Abhidheya and Abhidhana and so on, because it was very cryptic. Shankara Bhashya meant it for people who have been studying it, and they just said it and then went on. And I wanted to be comfortable with it. So here's what it says. It says, up to now, people that were looking for freedom, sense of freedom, were explained in the form of the object, which is Paramatma, which is everywhere. And this was described in terms of the Omkara, and it was done. So now if I don't get it, here's why you don't get it. So this is all connected to Tattvamasi. The reason you don't get it is the object and its name are not connected. You don't know what you mean by "Jara mujhe pani ka gilas dena." You don't understand the name or the language or anything. In what way? You think Paramatma is elsewhere. Right? So, Paramatma, if you want to look at it that way, Paramatma is a name that is not connected to the object, which is you. That connection is not there. So what do I do? How do I make that connection? It says, let us go through the naming of the Atma. Let us know the name. Go through it systematically. If you don't get it right away, that's because you're missing some parts. So let's go through it now. So now we revisit nothing new, but the same Atma which was initially introduced in the verse in mantra number 1 is now revisited, dissected carefully where you follow it. So this is growth. So we now start an introduction to the Omkara again. Om again, also called Pranava. And see what is the relevance of Om, and how you can take the support of Om to understand the non-duality between Atma and Paramatma. This is what you need to do. Because if you cannot traverse this path, you need a support. And this is what is called alambanam. Alambanam. We've already gone through that in some of the previous courses. Alambanam means a support. And whenever you go to a temple, if you're a Hindu and you go to a Hindu temple, and you go to Ganesha temple, for example, then that whole process of going to the temple, or even if you go to the church and see the picture of Christ, it has like some differences, but if you just go to a Hindu temple, you see the picture of something. And what that does is, it allows you to focus your mind, to remove all distractions, and just look at the picture which engulfs you, and you become loyal to it. I'm just looking at you, I pray to you, and so on. This is called alambanam. How is it called alambanam? What is the reason for it? It means you have to take the support of a focused mind to now inquire into what is happening. What is your relationship? Who are you? Etc. It's interesting. If I can digress, I hope I'll have enough time. I'll come back to the alambanam in a minute, but I wanted to digress. Something that Swami Akhandananda had pointed out was very useful to me, really. He says, if you go to let's just take the example of a Ganesha temple. And Ganesha, as you know, Ganapati, is known for that aspect of Ishvara that removes obstacles from your life, and one that fulfills your desires. This is the Ganesha. Okay? So that power of Ishvara has been given to this Devata, and this is what we do. And so really speaking, if you look at it, like, I wouldn't say an average, but if a typical Hindu that goes to a Ganesha temple, they'll just go there and pray, and perhaps have some desires that they express. I'm really looking for this job, and I really want to get that. I think that's the best job for me. Can you please make sure you remove all obstacles? Or something like that. This is what you do. So Akhandananda says, do you know how this is? How? And so now the blessing of Ganesha becomes uncertain, because you're not sure whether your desire will be fulfilled or not. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Do you want to get a more sure way of fulfilling your desires by praying to Ganesha? Then here's what you need to do. This is according to a Mahatma. Don't take my word for it. I'm also learning. He says, here's what you do. you go to Ganesha, local Ganapati, and if you pray, you tell Ganesha, I am bothered by having all these unfulfilled desires. And I understand that desire fulfillment is a chancy affair. It has a lot of moving parts to it, a lot of background, uncertain future, all those kinds of things. But what I really want to do is not just fulfill one desire, because I know as soon as I fulfill one desire, another one will come up. I know that. And you know it too. What I'd like to do is to have a sense where desires don't bother me. Because right now they bother me. They won't let me stand where I am. I have to go something, do something. Is that going to be my life? Shouldn't I be at a place where I feel fulfillment? What is it that I need to do? You know you can give it to me. If you want to fulfill this desire, please do so. It's bothering me right now. Fine. But over and beyond that, I want something which is more lasting, something more real. Me. My Swarupa, which is without these desires. Can you please help me achieve that? And Swamiji says, you know what happens? He says, I've seen this in the lives of people. Because he talks with a lot of experience, thousands of people, the questions, people, and so on and so forth. Not a Mahatma that's just sitting somewhere in the Himalayas, separate from it. He's a very active teacher. He says, I've seen this. What happens is that there is a gap between what you deserve and what you desire. And this gap is the one that creates a sense of discontent. And what you need to do is to actively work with Parameshwara, with Ganesha, to reduce that gap slowly. And if you do, and you do it sincerely sincerely in the sense that you know what you need to do, you have a larger goal in front of you, then what you do is you develop a sense of maturity. I don't need to fulfill every desire in order to be happy. It's silly. You have a sense of acceptance. Acceptance is not even the right word. It's not like you're saying what cannot be cured must be endured. No. It just means that you begin to see the silliness of desires. That I am neglecting something which is enormous, as we will study in more detail about Advaita Vedanta. I'm neglecting something which is enormously me. It's like saying I'm the whole ocean and I'm worried about just being a wave. And as you develop this, you will see Ganesha smiling at you and saying, you're getting it. So more and more, visits to the temple become more as a thanks, as a reaffirmation of the path that you're in, which is a sense of vairagya, sense of saying, I'm okay. This is how the connection between Paramatma and the Atma is made. So this is the value of alambanam. The value of alambanam. So this is why, this is the so-called idol worship in Hinduism is so misunderstood. It is such a tragedy, really. My gosh, this misunderstanding by all other religious disciplines has caused such problems for Hindus. I mean, the number of Hindus that have been killed, the number of Hindu women that have been raped, the number of Hindu temples that have been dismantled over many, many hundreds of years. Non-acceptance by all the other religions, including Christians, would say, what is this? Going to Ganesha, this is not godliness, this is some idol worship. Who are these strange people? It is just because of the non-understanding of what alambanam means to us, or to anybody, not just to us. I don't know if you know this or not. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, in the very early part of this century, right around the year 2000, where the Pope had made a statement. I don't remember which Pope it was. I forget the name of the Pope, but I know this very well because I was involved with Swamiji at this time. Had gone had declared that the current century is where they want to Christianize India and China. Christianize it. He says, we have already conquered the West, and so there's nothing more that needs to be done. But we want to convert these pagan Hindus and Asians, Chinese, into Christianity to save them from hell. So he had come there, and so a very interesting thing happened. China, of course, said, no, thank you. We don't need you. India, this is one of the problems we have, is that we just said, okay, come on over and convert us if you can, and it's okay. So many problems are happening. Anyway, the reason I mention this is because just around that time, a similar non-understanding of alambanam was being displayed by the Jews. So all these, Israel was already formed by then, obviously, and they had scholars, Jewish scholars that would come and so on, and they would disparage Hinduism. They are not proselytizing, unlike the Christians. So this is very interesting. The Jews don't proselytize. Buddhists also don't proselytize. Hindus also don't proselytize. But Muslims and Christians are the two main religions that want to convert everybody, because their feeling is this is the right thing to do. you're going in the wrong direction and you please come over on our side. Just at that time, Swami Dayanand somehow got in touch with the most scholarly Jewish people from Israel. This is all very well known and very well documented. You can see this. And slowly started discussing with them their misunderstanding of what idol worship means. And he explained this whole thing, alambanam, and this is just a means to the end. You don't understand the difference between name and the object. This is what needs to be done. And they were so impressed, so convinced, that they invited Swamiji and his entire delegation to go to Tel Aviv. I forget the name of the year. I think it was around 2000, 2001, maybe 2002, around that. The reason I can toot my own horn a little bit to this, because there was a conference. Sorry, I'm digressing into all this in the middle of this, but I don't know. This is what this alambana kind of triggered the thoughts. There was a conference in New Delhi. I think it was in the year 2001. And this was in the midst of a major campaign by Swami Dayanand under the, this is the response to the Pope trying to Christianize, under the banner which says, "Conversion is violence." This was the title. In fact, if he's written some books on it, you may be able to get that. But he was just trying to create a resistance to the Pope coming over and trying to take over. So, in the part of that, he convened a meeting of the leaders of non-proselytizing religions. And those were Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs, and Jews, Buddhists, Jains. So it was a meeting of the not invited were Christians and Muslims, Mohammedans. So he had this meeting in New Delhi. And I was very honored and surprised that he had about three people to speak on Hinduism, and I was one of them. I was really surprised. I don't know whether he called me on the phone or he talked to me. I don't remember how. And Swami Viditatmananda was, of course, Swami Dayanand was the main speaker. But along with that, there was a talk by Swami Viditatmananda with some slides. And that was like for about 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And Swamiji said, "Vijay, would you like to please talk for a few minutes, 3 minutes, I think he gave me, 3 or 4 minutes, on your view of this." And the reason he invited me was that I was a non-Swami, and yet I had gone through the discipline of teaching, and he wanted me to be one of the speakers. So, my gosh, there was the Indian Prime Minister who was sitting there, and I don't remember if who were some of the other leaders. They were all, and here I am, talking on this. And I made my speech and I talked about alambanam and how this is done, inconsistent with that. Anyway, this was all very fresh in my mind. at that time. So Swamiji had actually went to Tel Aviv and he had a long set of meetings with the Jewish leaders. And he was able to convince them that you do not understand the value of what we do as idol work, what you call idol worship. It's not idol worship. It is a way for us to focus our mind concretely and then take off from there. It's kind of like you race to get a certain speed, and then you hover, you go up on the top, and then you are now flying. Something like that. And it's interesting in the Kathopanishad, if you go to, I'm just looking at notes on Alambanam. It says in Kathopanishad, chapter 1, section 1 to 17, I don't remember the names of it, 1 to 17, he says, Etat alambanam shreshtham, Etat alambanam param, Etat alambanam gyatva brahmaloke mahiyate. This is the Kathopanishad. Please look it up. Etat alambanam shreshtham, Etat alambanam param, Etat alambanam gyatva brahmaloke mahiyate. He's talking about Omkara. He says this Omkara is Shrestha Alambanam. Etat Alambanam Param. Etat Alambanam Gyatva. Knowing this, Brahmaloke Mahiyate. So in the parlance of something I won't be able to really understand, I won't be able to go into the main topic, which is how to take the support of Om, including chanting it, in order to prepare your mind to understand the Advaita Vedanta. This is the main reason for the 8th mantra. And we will go into this. How do you chant it? When do you chant it? What is the effect of it? And how do you understand the aspects of it? All of this will be done in a very systematic way. In the beginning, it was just said, oh, by the way, Om and Atma are one and the same. There's no difference between them. Om and Paramatma, and Om and Atma and Paramatma, they all three are the same. And people that really have done a lot, they're mature spiritually, will say, oh my God, I didn't know that. Yes. But if you say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Me, Paramatma, Om, what is all this? All right, now let us go through it systematically. And he says, we'd have various kinds of alambanam. Supposing you have some clothes on the top part of your closet. On the, closets have 3 or 4 different sections, and you're taking the clothes to wear at the bottom section. But then in the very top, you have something that is only meant for winter time or something. And you can't reach it. So what does it mean? You need a ladder. You need a step stool. Step stool is the alambanam. And with that, with the ladder that supports, you can reach a higher elevation. This is what is being talked about here. He says the Omkara is the best ladder known to mankind. Etad alambanam shreshtam. Etad alambanam param. The word param is a very important word, and I think we have already talked about this, just to make sure that you see this. I'll come to that, the word param, in a minute. So he says, by the use of, you can't call it a use, like it's not like a toothpaste. You use it and you throw it away. No, but with the help, this is a better word, with the help of the Omkara, you reach Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka means the very state of being, not even a state, the very you become Brahma. Mahiyate. This is the Mahan. And now the Param. So Param here means one which exists when everything else is gone. It's called Param. Do you know who that is? Can you take a guess as to what is Param? When everything else is gone, is resolved, has disappeared, the one which stays is called Param. That's you. Me? Not you and so-called enclosed in this body-mind, but you, the Atma, the Paramatma. Mahiyate, Brahma Loke Mahiyate. So with the help of a systematic understanding of the parts of the Atma, so-called parts, Padaha Matra, you reach Amatra, Turiya, which is the Atma itself. So it becomes a kind of like a stepwise connection between Atma and the Paramatma. Anyway, it's interesting that that's the main topic that we didn't even, now we will get into that in the next class. And the next class will not be for a while. I think I've already sent you a WhatsApp message that next week Swami Muktatmananda. So, sorry, Swami Muktatmananda will be here. It's interesting, his name creates a little bit of a memory confusion, because I used to know a little bit about Swami Muktatmananda. Muktananda. When he was in Oakland, through some friends, I would go visit Muktananda. And this is Swami Muktatmananda. So that creates a little bit of a confusion, think about it. Anyway, next week he's going to be here, and so we will not have a class. And then Saturday morning, I think I'll be very busy preparing for the trip on Sunday morning to Sailorsburg, so we won't have that one. The next Saturday after that, or the 10th, which will be traveling, so we won't have it. So the next class after today will be on the 16th of May. So we will hopefully see you then. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Anyway, next week he's going to be here. And so, Surendra, you're back. Good. Hope you had a good trip. You can still come with us to Sailorsburg. Satish will miss you. I hope you're feeling better, but you said that you probably will not come to Sailorsburg. Arvind, I hope you're going to be okay. Your wife, I hope you can come. Anyway, I think that I know many of you cannot come to Sailorsburg. We will hopefully record the sessions. And I'm thinking, well, anyway, some thoughts I'll tell you about what my thoughts are with respect to the Saturday class and the podcasts, which I've been thinking about but have not really done. So I think one of the things I'm thinking is that this Drikdrishya Viveka, which I think I will take up in a with considerable depth, based on Swami Akhandananda's teaching. We will, of course, have 17, 18 classes at Sailorsburg, which will be streamed or recorded for you. But then I might be able to continue, and I think we will only cover a portion of Drikdrishya Viveka in this 1 week, because I will go into such depth that I won't go through all the 28 verses. So the rest of it, we could convert that into a podcast that you can listen to. Anyway, I have some ideas about Saturday class, the future of it, podcasts, etc. We will look into that. All right, good to see you all today, and we have a wonderful, hope you can attend Swami Muktatmananda's classes, and in one case or the other, we'll see you on May 16th. Hari Om.